while since I've done a Q&A, so I asked you for your questions on social media. I got myself an alcoholic cider because it's one of the few perks of being a grown-up. And I have your questions ready, so let's get started. I'm going to start with Twitter. At Poetry3am says, what's your dream collaboration? I absolutely love Grace Helbig and Mamrie Hart. We could be best friends, they just don't know it yet. I would love to get together and do a video with them because I know that it would involve a lot of laughter, probably a fair bit of alcohol, and a lot of terrible puns, which I just love. Bay_O'Brien says, if you had to pick to live in Idris for a month, Idris or Idris? I've heard it both ways. I've always said Idris. I feel like this is some controversy. So tell me in the comments if you think it's Idris or Idris. Or Idris. I don't know. We could all be wrong. Anyway, if you had to pick to live in Idris for a month or attend Hogwarts for a week, which would you choose? Hogwarts. Hogwarts. At RedRosa21 says, if you could have dinner with one author and one singer or songwriter, who would you pick? Well, I mean, considering Cassie Clare and I are like internet BFFs, it's a wonder we haven't had dinner together because, I mean, we're pretty tight. For singer-songwriter, I'd have to pick Taylor Swift. It seems like everybody that hangs out with her is like really tall and skinny and beautiful. I'm hoping maybe some of that would rub off on me. At just_Keeley says, if you got another pet, what would you name it? Well, I guess to answer that question, I have to start with a story. For those of you guys who follow me on social media, you know that we now have 3 pets, Delia and Grover the cats, and Manny the dog. But what a lot of you don't know is that Manny is actually just a nickname for what his real name is. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago, my husband and I were on a road trip. And when you spend a lot of hours with somebody in a car, sometimes the topics of conversation get a little weird. So we were talking about names and weird names, and I said, you know what, if we're gonna go with weird names, why not just bypass the vowels altogether? So I said, my future child is gonna be named first name MNMBD, middle name KRVTZ, Manimdekirvitz. Then it kind of became, if we ever have a dog, that's who we're gonna name it. So Manny is actually a nickname for Manimdekirvitz. When it comes to future pet names, I've always thought it would be funny to name a pet a human name, but more of like an old school human name. So like Bertha or Doris or Frank. So I think probably the next pet that we get is gonna have some name like that. At Just Read and Read says, how do you choose an edit to post on your Instagram? I actually take a screenshot of any edit that uses the hashtag Beth Crowley or tags me or mentions me in a comment that uses my song lyrics. I have them all saved. I usually start with the oldest ones and keep working forward. But my goal is to post all of them. Now I will say one disclaimer. If it has something that's not spelled right, I'm really hesitant to post it. And that's not necessarily because I have, issues with it being spelled wrong. I just don't want to have anybody make fun of anybody in the comments for spelling something wrong. My best tip to you is I will post your edit if I know about it and if everything's spelled right. Now let's see what you had to ask on Facebook. Tasarla says, do you write your own stories or poetry? Poetry, no. Lyrics is the closest thing I get to poetry. Stories, I have some ideas for some things. I've started to write some things as far as books go / musicals go, but it's very non-committal. It's casual. It's just casual. We're just seeing if there's anything there. It's complicated. And finally, your questions from Instagram. Bella Gymnast 17 says, can you do a handstand? No, but since your username is Bella Gymnast, I'm assuming you can, and you would put me to shame, and I'd probably just go stand in a corner and feel really awkward. I feel like I'm emotionally standing in a corner and feeling really awkward. That's kind of how I always feel. Rabbits Rule the World. What book are you currently reading? Usually I have at least one audiobook and one physical hard copy book going on at the same time. I just finished listening to The Princess Diaries. I love that book. I've loved that book for years. And I didn't even realize that with the audiobook, Anne Hathaway is the one that reads it. So it was just great. I just started listening to the audiobook for Fallen by Lauren Kate. Hard copy book. I've been reading it for a while just because I have not had a lot of time to read, but Truth by Christina Benjamin. Which actually leads me to something I'd asked on Twitter, which is, If I started a Goodreads account and kind of put up what I'm reading and thoughts about what I've read and some reviews and things, is that something that you guys would like? Let me know in the comments below if that's something you think I should start doing. Paola_Jalisa. Do you say Coke, soda, or pop? Let's talk about this. I definitely don't say pop. I think that's a northern thing. There's a perception that people in the South say Coke when talking about any kind of carbonated soft drink, and I don't do that. If I'm saying Coke, I'm talking about Coke, and then soda for most everything else, and sometimes even soda for Coke. I should just start calling it like Flugel. I bet nobody calls it Flugel. Olivia Rose 46 said, would you rather have a book series written about you or an album? Probably a book series. I'm not sure what it would be about because my life is not all that exciting. But if it was a book series where my life was not all that exciting and then I find out I have like special powers and do really cool things and that I'm a wizard, I don't want that book series written about me. I want that to happen in my life. Escaper for Life. Do you like Chex Mix? If so, what's your favorite flavor? Yes, I like the cheddar Chex Mix, but even more so than Chex Mix brand, I like the Cheez-It mix. Shadow Hunter Claire Asio Wi-Fi says, do you love more the romance or action? I like a combination because I feel like too much of either of those just kind of loses my interest. If it's all romance and there's nothing going on, I get kind of bored with that. And the same thing with action where it's not necessarily being bored, but being like, okay, like we're blowing stuff up, I get it. So I like a nice harmony between the two. Olivia K267 says, funniest memory including your pets. Usually all of my funny, dumb memories including my pets involve Grover because he is the derpiest of the derpy. I got a few of those fly traps that are like the cylinder thing that have the sticky stuff, and I put them all where I didn't think the cats would get to them, but of course Grover found a way. So one day I'm just sitting on the couch and all of a sudden he runs by and I see this like bright yellow thing attached to him and I'm like, what is happening? He has gotten this fly trap stuck to his side. I was able to peel the fly trap off, but the sticky stuff would not come off, and I tried to bathe him and he was like, that's not gonna happen. So I actually had to take him to the vet so that they could sedate him and shave off the fur that had the sticky fly trap stuff on it. It kind of ended up looking like a giant Nike swoop on his side. Finally, Dark Fairy Girl says, your husband or Jace? I don't think he can hear me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. Make sure you follow me on social media because that's where I ask for questions for these. And that's it. That's all I got. Good night.